astronomy. And not just the Egyptians, and not just the Hebrews. You know, the 12 tribes of Israel. What do you think they're symbolic of? Now, they're real, but they're also a symbol. They are symbolic of the 12 constellations. Were you aware of that? The ancient Hebrew commentators described the various tribes as being associated with the constellation. That later took on the symbolism in the Christian era with Jesus and his 12 apostles. In the medieval ages, it became King Arthur and the 12 knights of the Round Table. That Round Table is the zodiac. They were interested in what I like to call, what Nibley has called, what Michael Dennis Rhodes has called, what John Gee has called, all the LDS scholars now are recognizing this, the cosmological gospel. And nothing brings this out stronger than our pearl of great price, the book of Moses. I mean, wham, bam, first thing Moses is hit with a vision of the cosmos, and it absolutely knocks him out. It floors him. And what's his response after he sees the vision? He says, whoa, now I know that I really am nothing. That's not just rhetoric. It leveled him. That's what shocked Carl Sagan. When we got those magnificent telescopes, and we can see billions and billions and billions of light years in the past. It absolutely knocks you out. All we are is a speck of dust. We're smaller than the speck of dust right there, flying around right there in the cosmos. We are so tiny and minuscule that the atheists think we're nothing. But so did Moses. The difference is he had faith that God existed, while the atheists don't. It's nice to know the atheists are wrong, isn't it? We have a gospel of hope with the resurrection. And here is what the facsimiles are trying to teach us. Can you all see that? Is that high enough? I don't want that too low. I don't want it too high either. They are actually, now this is interesting because these are the only ones in America.
Could you answer one timely question, a brief one? But
yes, the bathroom, it's outside to the left.
As you describe these things, could you just provide a little sense of how sure you are about the things you're describing, and what the source of information comes in, what's been correlated with the church, and what is just solid research? And,
I will get to that.
Questionable?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is absolutely rock solid. This is what the idea is. And it's interesting. These were the only ones in America for 100 years. Joseph Smith got the papyri back. I've been criticized for calling them papyri, so I should say papyri, so that the critics will quit harping on me about that. And he happened to put them in the correct order. Now, isn't that wild? How did he figure that out? Number one, what did Joseph Smith describe facsimile number one as being? Come on, you scriptorian. Sacrifice. Abraham is being slain. He is dying here. Now, it's interesting. The Egyptologists argued at one time, they said, see, Joseph Smith is so mixed up that he goofed up the biblical story of the sacrifice of Isaac. Everyone knows it was Isaac that was sacrificed. You can't read about the sacrifice of Abraham in the Bible, can you? I bet you can't, because it's not there. So well, the sacrifice of Isaac is, well, okay, Joe, let's teach you the correct principle. It's Isaac's sacrifice. Joseph Smith said, no. Well, yes, but it is also Abraham's sacrifice. When the person is sacrificed, the theme is going into the cosmos. And we'll read in the facsimile number 2, the hypocephalus, that it's all about the relationship of the sun, Kolob, the grand governing power, Ke Von Rosh, Oliblish, the various step-downs between the sons, the stars and the power going through the cosmos back and forth, all the way to Earth, which is represented by the four sons of Horus. It's a cosmological concept, because when we die, that's where we go. Once we get our bearings in the cosmos, we end up in the exaltation scene, what I call the exaltation scene. Now, the Egyptologists will say this is called a judgment scene. And they say this is not Abraham on Pharaoh's throne. This, in the Egyptian idea, is Osiris. Okay, that's true, but it's also false. Because whenever the dead were, I'll put this in Mormon talk so you can understand it. When we accept the gospel, we become deified. Yes? That's our teaching. To become like Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother. That is a very strong doctrine being discovered now in the biblical scholarship. So, the Egyptologists say this is Osiris, not Abraham, you dumb Mormons. And we say it's okay. We accept that it is Osiris. It is also Abraham because he has become deified like Osiris. And that was the Egyptian goal. The idea was to become like Osiris. And the way you knew you achieved it is, you were given what? The throne. We're promised that in the book of Revelation. We're promised we will be given a throne, and that white stone that Joseph Smith talked about, everyone will have their own Urim and Thummim, and everyone will receive their own exaltation. Yes, this is the thing. And the interesting thing is how it matches the actual Egyptian temple layout. This is a, can you see that? Is my fat head in the way? Woohoo! So, in the temple, now we have hundreds of these line cut scenes. Absolutely hundreds of them. And the one argument that the critics say is, Abraham this is a mummy. He's being embalmed. This one. I got news for you. That is not a mummy. We have hundreds of pictures of mummies on the lion couch, and this ain't one. Because he's moving. Look, his legs going up, his hands are in front of his face, and you know if you stand this, right, if you stand this right side up, where'd he go? Oh, yeah, well, put Abraham on his head for a minute. You stand this right side up, the figure on the couch in Egyptian hieroglyphic, that is the hieroglyph for prayer. And we are taught, when Abraham was stuck on that cotton-picking sacrificial bed, he prayed for deliverance, and the angel of the Lord came and delivered him. The theme is the death and resurrection of the person as they come in through the Egyptian temple. They come into this center room. There's three levels, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, he comes in on this side. He comes in, goes around in room number 1. This is the room where he learns about the creation. The second room, you see that number A, B, C, D? There's A, the north wind. B, the east wind, was right there. C, the south wind, was on this side. And D, the west wind, was on the bottom. They were the four winds covering the four quarters of the earth. Once they got into the cosmos, then they were taken into, notice this guy is on a throne and he's receiving an offering. They go from room to room, from the creation room to this room of the cosmos room to this room, which I am calling the deification room. That's not what the Egyptologists call it. It doesn't matter. That's what it is. It is a process. 1, 2, 3. And that same process is reflected in those facsimiles. And we know through the restoration that it comes through Jesus Christ's atonement. That's what we know. To the ancient Egyptians, Osiris was their deity who was dismembered by his evil brother Set